On the Build Show today, I have a special treat for you. A house that was built partly in Japan and is the International Builder show house this year. Now, I've been to a lot of show houses over the years, and I'll be honest, oftentimes they look cool, there's some big pizzazz, but they're not necessarily well built. When you get into the details, I've not always been impressed. But this one, on the other hand, this is a cool house. I just got a tour a minute ago, so I've got some of the details. Let me give you the full tour. Okay, so first off, this is built by Woodside Homes here in Nevada. Now, Woodside was acquired a couple years ago by a Japanese company, Sekisui, apparently a very large Japanese builder, and this is called their Chowa House. This is kind of a show house for what they can do. And I gotta say, the details are gonna sing in this house. Wait till you see it. Of course, the giant pivot door is cool. But even little things like this, look how the tile on here comes to this contemporary door trim. They use the Schluter trim right here. They've nailed all the details. It looks really, really tight and crisp. One detail that I really like in this house too, you're gonna notice that all the floors run continuous in that inside out. And then you're also going to see that in the ceilings. They've got some big Wieland, I can't remember how you pronounce it, windows and doors. That's an Anderson affiliate. Look how that floor runs all the way through here. The ceiling runs all the way through. Now the ceiling looks like European fumed oak that I've used before, very expensive. And in fact, this is a Shaw product, which a lot of production builders are using. I don't know the cost on that, but it's probably way less expensive than some of the European models. A couple other details I like on this house. Check out the incredible floating staircase. They've got steel in there, bolted through and clad. I'll tell you, for a production builder to have built this house, very, very crisp. So let's talk about the construction process. They've got a video going upstairs that hopefully we can lace in. So they've got a network of piers and a concrete stem wall around the outside. And then from there, they've got a metal plate that gets bolted on. Now, I got a chance to talk to one of the builders, and he told me that everything out of Japan was super, super precise because all the framing was cut and made and built. Basically, the whole house was built overseas in Japan, and then they sent that lumber package over. Now, this is similar to a post and beam house that you might see in America, like the guys at Bensonwood are doing post and beam houses. You've got a really thick beam and post that's coming down, and the connections were really interesting. They've got some metal connectors and some pins that are connecting that, so a little different than traditional American joinery, but even the roof was pre-cut and everything was assembled here in the States. Now, the builders, the American guys, were telling me that on site they basically had 3 languages going during the construction of this house. Of course, it's construction. There's a lot of Spanish being spoken and English, but a lot of Japanese as well. I think the Sekisui guys must have been on site. And BMC had a hand in this as well. My understanding is that the Ready Frame framers had a big hand in building this house. So they had like a Google Translate going through the course of construction. That guys were talking to each other through a Google Translate with 3 different languages. Check out this killer pool out here, a giant 2-story space. I love these gorgeous wood ceilings. And then they transition to drywall in some other areas as well. But check out the wood ceiling in the kitchen here as well. Man, that's pretty. Some sweet details as that transitions from inside to out. I wonder what these appliances are. Those are sleek. And those cabinets, I'm not familiar with that. I like all this. Let me walk outside. I'm going to show you a couple details this way. This is the way the tour led me originally, so I'll lead you on the kind of the same tour. As we go out, lift and slide doors. I love lift and slides because all you have is that teeny little strip holding up, and the door's rolling on that. And then the guys at Woodside told me about the drainage system. See how those tiles are not connecting? You've got a drainage system here because here we're on pier and beam, and there's some kind of 1-inch thick Japanese plywood underneath this tile here, and there's actually a crawl space under there that's a vented crawl space. And they've got closed cell foam, is my understanding, down there. And then out here in the pool deck area, they've got another nice little slit right here to catch any rainwater, and that's going out to a French drain system. But what a beautiful outdoor living space, especially because you've got all those gorgeous wood ceilings coming out to the space. Now, those are all engineered wood, but it is a real wood, same finish on the floors as the ceiling. And because they're protected, they're underneath that soffit. They've got gutters. and there's not going to be any UV rays on that. My expectation is that those will last a long time and shouldn't have any problems for the next 30, 40 years, maybe longer. This is apparently a quarried stone from California. Never seen that before. It looks like a little bit like some of the pink granites you see quarried in Texas, but there's a big 2-story wall of that. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, this brick that you're seeing here that's running inside to out in a few places, it's not actually brick. It looks like a running bond. There's a display outside. Let's cut to that display real quick. Beautiful exterior in this house, but they've paid special attention to wildfire resistance. And check this out. This brick that I saw from the buses I'm pulling up is not actually brick, although it looks like a stacked bronze. What you're looking at actually is a ceramic tile. This is from Japan. It's called Bellburn, B-U-R-N, B-E-L-L. But this ceramic tile is actually made with some fiberglass. If you can see this cross section here, it's, I don't know, 3/4 or so thick. It has a ceramic finish on the outside, and check it out. It's got a rain screen, built-in clip system, so it's going to be naturally off the wall behind it. Now, at the International Builder Show next week, they're going to have a propane tank hooked up to this weed torch right here, and this thing will take 1,400 degrees at the face of the siding here. So if you had something terrible happen, the house would survive. That is cool. Okay, so another thing I thought was interesting about that particular product, it comes in panels. Let's see if I can find where a panel stops. And it looks like there's a mortar joint, but of course this is not a brick. But then where those panels, here it is, where those panels come together, there's a caulking that's getting in there. I'm assuming there's a backer rod, knowing how precise the Japanese are. But the builder was telling me they even brought the caulking from Japan to make sure it made it and was going to work perfectly with this system. But I really like that. Bellburn. I hope they sell that in the States sometime. I would love to use that in a project. So pretty contemporary on these windows and doors. I'm assuming these are all thermally broken. It looks like double glaze, not triple glaze. We're in the desert here. It gets a little cold, but it's not terrible. And again, I love these transitions from inside to out. Now, as we go into this kind of guest bedroom space, check out the contemporary trim details. I used a bunch of fry reglets. They've got flush base, where the base is flushing up to the drywall. That reglet right there is separating. It's a pretty fat reglet. Looks to me like that's almost a 1-inch reglet. And then the doors are all trimmed. Let's see if we can head back this way and I'll show you. Doors are all trimmed with a, oh, actually that's not trim. I apologize. No, what you're seeing here is actually the door jamb. Let me see if I can open this up. So this is going back into the foyer, but this is actually the door jamb. So they set this door jamb. They set it in a way that was going to flush up the jamb with the drywall, and then probably their finish carpenter put that reglet on, and then the drywall guys hung that drywall to that. But as I mentioned, this is a production builder. This is not a custom builder. They probably don't have like the style of budgets that I typically work with, but I gotta say, very impressive details. Let's go upstairs and we'll look at a couple things upstairs as well. All right, so, oh, you know what? Actually, before we go upstairs, let's go hit the garage because I think there's some cool stuff in there that we should see. All right, so there's a big VMC event here tonight. We got to kind of work around the caterers, but there's some cool stuff to see in the garage. Now, the Japanese are obviously big on technology, but they're also big on being carbon neutral and being really smart about how they build the houses. So a couple things I want to point out. On the technology side, check it out. The first time I've actually seen a buoy installed. This is by my friends at Residio, brand new to the market this year. What this device does is this is internet connected, and it's going to sense any issues in your water system. This is your incoming water line. This is going to the house. It learns your patterns in the house, and then it's actually going to shut off the water to the whole house if it detects a leak. There's a bunch of cool stuff that you can get on their app, including alerts to both the plumber and the homeowner, and you can shut off the water remotely. So if I was out of town, it senses, hey, there's a problem, this shouldn't be happening, it's going to send me an alert, boom, I can shut off the whole house. Okay, a couple other cool things over here. Look at this. They've got a Daikin mini split in the garage. I do that a bunch in Texas too, where it's super hot. And then the next thing that I was blown away by, check this out, I've never seen this system, by Generac. I was told the house had a generator, but in fact, we've got a 20 kW solar array on the roof. So this is a net positive house. Now, we've got one inverter here that's going to do half of that power, a second one over there that's going to do the other half, so 10 kW each. And then these things, the power cell, that's actually a battery bank, so kind of like a Tesla Powerwall, but the Generac version. So if the power dies over here, we don't need a standard natural gas generator. We've got these two power walls going. Man, that's cool. I also like how they've labeled everything nicely. It's very organized and neat and clean. That's a really nice install. Okay, now on the mechanical side, in the garage, we've got a heat pump water heater, 80 gallon. I'm thinking about using one of those from my house as well. It's going to dehumidify and cool this garage space a little bit, but it's going to take that heat out of the garage and dump it in the water tank. We've got a softener out here too, which are really good for houses. And then they've got a Daikin system. Now I mentioned the Daikin system upstairs. We can't see what that one looks like, but this is looking like a more traditional upflow box, but it's going to be tied to that VRF Daikin compressor on the outside. Let's go outside the garage. There's one other thing I wanted to point out while we're in the outdoor space. I mentioned earlier that the Japanese are really interested in being carbon neutral. So really, this is an all-electric house. We have no natural gas here. In fact, I don't think there's even a connection for this house. But what do you do when you're grilling and you're trying to be carbon neutral? Watch your step. So check out this grill space. You get this beautiful outdoor living space. I walked right by it and didn't even think anything of it. But this is not a standard grill. This is an electric grill. Kenyan brand? I've never even heard that before. Check it out. I'm going to lift up the cast iron plate here, and look, it's got an electric burner system in there. So even down to the grill, they've made the decision to be all electric on this house. Induction cooking, heat pumps for water, heat pumps for space heating and space cooling. I got to say, impressive house. All right, let's catch up now again on the upstairs that I was missing earlier. All right, so we're upstairs now. Again, you can see that inside to outside with those beautiful ceilings. I wonder who did the interiors. I like those. Those are cool fixtures. These floors look amazing now. I like the glass rails. Look at the linear grills too. I wish I could get up in the attic. Unfortunately, there's no ladder, but they tell me we got a full condition attic up there. We've got a full Daikin system. So it would have been fun to get up in the attic, but that's all right. I know it's a show house. Can't always do that. Now, one thing the Japanese are big on is making sure the houses are going to be lived in by their clients for the next, 100 years, let's say. So this kid's bedroom is going to face the strip. You might think the master would face the strip, but in fact, the master, let's see, which direction is it, the master? It's a closet. The master's around this way, and then I believe, here we go, yeah. The master has the more private canyon view. So look back here, look at those beautiful canyons. It's a little more private, a little more intimate back here in the master, but a killer view. And then they put a higher wall out of the master too, so that you're not exposed. You've got some privacy. You could go out there and sunbathe, no one's gonna see you. I also love how all of their floor transitions are flush. So as we go from hardwoods to tiles, you can see everything's nice and flush. There's no T-moldings. There's no transition strips. You could easily eventually age in place in this house, and I'll show you some of the other areas like that in the house as well. That looks like a Japanese toilet. I missed this on the, oh, look at that. As you approach, the toilet seat automatically goes up. Looks like that's a Kohler. It's not Japanese. Made in Kohler, Wisconsin, actually. Good old American toilet. I like this master design, though. This is cool. You got back-to-back vanities here. You've got a mirror that kind of floats on some metal right here. Beautiful vanities. I don't know what that is, but that looks like a really pretty marble. And then all the showers are roll-in showers. No curbs anywhere in here. Holy cow, look at that body wash. Looks like a Kohler product as well. That's cool. I like that. Again, nice flush transitions into the tile areas. Nice crisp details with these fry reglets. The other thing that I would expect on this house, which I'm generally seeing, but we don't have any raking light, I bet the drywall is absolutely money because you've got this perfectly straight, flat post and beam framing from Japan. I bet that the drywall guys absolutely loved this house. It must have been just absolutely dead on. All right, well, we'll end the video from the master here. This is kind of the end of the line. The tour bus is just about to leave. I need to get back on the bus. I'll put a link to these guys in the description, but if anybody's watching this in Japan from Sekisui, man, give me a call. I would love to go to Japan and see how things are built there. I've been a huge fan of everything made in Japan for many, many years. My 12-year-old Toyota Tundra with 150,000 miles on it still running like a top. From the Woodside Homes Sekisui Chowa House here in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's a wrap from the BMC Vegas 2020 event. Guys, big thanks to my friends at BMC for supporting me and for sending me on this trip. I had a great speaking engagement. If you haven't seen that, it's over on BuildShowNetwork.com. And if you're not currently a BMC employee, check and see if there's a BMC in your town. If you're a pro builder or a pro remodeler, these guys are really set up to take care of you well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show. We just finished the tour, but I got to introduce you to the guys that actually made this happen. This is Carl, the Director of Operations for all of Woodside Homes in the U.S., and Mike, the Superintendent. You're really the guy who made it happen. You're the builder, my friend.
Yes, he is the one who made it happen.
All right, so you guys gave me a great behind-the-scenes tour, an amazing house, but I was only able to see the video of this, and at the end, you guys pulled out these demos. This is cool.
We had it stashed in the same closet that you had your camera equipment, so we couldn't pass it by.
All right, Carl, so tell me about the post. This is on all the outside walls, right?
Right. So, well, it has some interior walls too, but it starts with the foundation. So there was a templated system that Mike had to exact laser the locations of these posts, because you can see there's not a lot of play when those were set.
There's no wiggle
on the concrete wall. And so then it has this fin that you can see down the middle, and the post just slips right onto that fin, perfect. These were all plumb bobbed and make sure that they were vertical and plumb, and then they're just 3 pins that hold them together at the bottom, and then that moves up to the top of the post, and we'll let Mike talk about the top.
Hey, real quick before you move on, though, on this is not just a solid 6x6, right, Carl?
That's right. Well, it's actually in millimeters,
okay.
And so, but it's close to a 6x6 size.
Gotcha.
And you can see it's made from laminated spruce, and it's been milled, and it's perfectly smooth. It's unlike a 2x4. You're not going to get splinters from moving this around.
Yeah, Carl, you mentioned earlier your framer was like, why are they using furniture lumber for this, or furniture grade?
That's right. Why are they using furniture grade lumber? And in fact, one of the framers from this house, he wanted to take some of this home to make a table with it. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of scraps for something like that to happen.
You probably had one trash bag full of trash at the end, or less at the end, didn't you?
Absolutely. There was very little trash on this build whatsoever. Everything was precision cut, precision milled in Japan in their factory and then brought here. Like I was telling you before, once you have this post on the concrete bracket that we just showed you, it then goes up the post to where we have the connection hardware.
Okay, so this is the top of that 6x6 post.
Yes, some were at midpoint, some were at top points. Like, for example, rear of the house, they were 25-foot high posts, so they had several of the brackets on them to interconnect the beams.
Gotcha.
As you can see here, there's a dead end. This is designed so that the drywall can go on here and not bulge out, not have any ripples or anything like that.
We've all had a Simpson connection that caused a bulge before, haven't we?
Absolutely. CS16 primarily. Anyway, some of them have brackets on both sides, so you won't have this dead end. And the way they all go together, so you have this fin with this hook here, and the post is wherever it is, 8 foot, 10 foot, 20 foot. This is a really cool thing you might want to get on camera. The way this is all precision milled to fit around this bracket. And from the factory, it came with the top pin already installed. So what
right here, the top pin drops in here, right?
Some of these beams were thousands of pounds, and we couldn't afford them falling on people.
Yeah,
so
they're craned in place?
Yes, craned in place. So then it goes on simply like this, and it hooks. Then you install the remainder of your pins.
And look how precise this is, Mike. I mean, there is no gap or tolerance right there between this. I mean, what is that, 16, 18 inches tall?
Well, the largest one we had in the house was almost 29 inches.
Holy cow, that is amazing.
Now, here's some statistics for people that build that I think will impress you. So from the corner of the building that way to the corner of the building this way, it's 139 foot 4 inches. Okay. Our foundation was 3/16 of an inch out of square. The concrete guy wanted to rip down the forms and start from scratch, and we said no, because we could be up to 21 millimeters out, which was like 5 or 6 mil. Anyway, those brackets had a minute amount of play, so we were able to string line the foundation and get the framing perfectly square. Then when we plumbed it, we plumbed the downstairs level in an hour and 20 minutes with plumb bobs, not lasers.
Old school plumb bobs.
Plumb bobs. And we had a Japanese framing square that was, I don't know, probably 10 inches by 5 inches, all in millimeters. It's within half a millimeter of plumb. We plumbed the upstairs in about 20 minutes and the roof system in about 5 minutes.
And how long was the overall framing process from concrete stripped and ready to go, framers and the lumber shows up till you're dried in?
Well, it was 8.5 working days.
Man.
10 calendar days, 8.5. We had to shut down for wind and rain a couple times. We had 6 to 9 guys per day, 2 cranes going. We worked both ends to the middle. It was absolutely incredible. We didn't use any nails until we got to the roof, and then when we installed the paneling, the sheer paneling on the outside. So that's the only time we use nails.
Dang, guys, impressive. Mike, you crushed it on this job, man. From one builder to another, well done, my friend. And Carl, you run an impressive operation, man, I got to say. I've been to a lot. I said this at the beginning of the video. I've seen a lot of show houses, and I've been disappointed more than I've been excited, and this is the exact opposite. You guys just wowed me on this house. Impressive, guys. I'll put a link in the description for Woodside so you guys can find these guys. And I'll also put a link to their Instagram and the parent company, Sekisui, as well. Guys, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Look for our new content every Tuesday and Friday. Otherwise, I'll see you next time on The Build Show.